Hello everybody, I'm Lars, and today I would like to introduce you to LOGUNITTEST, which is a Python-based pytest and Python unit test automation tool with the philosophy of testing and automating everything. LOGUNITTEST runs your pytest and Python unit test in a non-verbose and non-blocking way. That means unlike the usual protocols you get shown after a test, plus potentially blocking your CI/CD chain, LOGUNITTEST will simply silently log away all your produced test protocols into separate log files. And in the same spirit, LOGUNITTEST will leave it up to you how to react to any upcoming or occurring test issues or test problems. So whenever a test problem like an error occurs, it will leave it up to you to decide whether you consider that error to be relevant and to stop your CI/CD chain in order to prevent that particular change from entering your main code base, or it will allow you to keep the CI/CD chain running to integrate that change as fast as possible. Now, because LOGUNITTEST is storing all these log files persistently, it will allow you to later on extract all sorts of valuable information from these log files. For example, things like test frequency, number of errors occurring, plus the time it took you to fix these errors, and a whole bunch of additional valuable information are just waiting for you to be extracted for data analysis or any fancy kind of data science magic. And because all these log files are stored in a chronological order, it will help you to gain a deeper understanding of the overall dynamics that goes on within your project, which means identifying trend lines and hence identify potential upcoming risks or simply detect areas for potential improvement. Now keep in mind that LOGUNITTEST is currently designed to work with pipenvs. That's kind of the rationale behind why LOGUNITTEST was developed. That Tox right now has some, in my opinion, some serious problems in dealing with pipenv environments. And until these issues are fixed, I'm going to use LOGUNITTEST. It's using Tox resources anyway. So for example, you will find a tox.ini that stores all the meta information for LOGUNITTEST. And it also creates the environments kind of in a Tox way by using a .tox folder. Now, LOGUNITTEST can be run in various modes. And you have already seen one. If I type loot ut and press enter in my terminal, then you can see that the test is executed, and it will be executed for this particular package. I can now have a look at the produced protocol by typing loot logs, and as you can see here, it shows me the last log that has been created, in this case at 17:06, which is exactly the time when I ran this test. Now I can also run the test using the -p flag. And if I run it using the -p flag, if I go over here and I clip pwd, I copied the path to this particular package and I paste it in here and press enter, then you see that the test is executed again, but this time it executes the test for this package here because that's the path I used. And I can prove that to you by copying this test ID here. And if I now say loot logs, and I use the -i flag for providing the test ID, then you can see that the log file has been saved into this package folder here that belongs to the package that you see here on the side. I can get some more detailed information about the logs by using the verbosity flag. For example, if I want to see more details about this log here, I can type -v and then increase the verbosity, for example, to 3. And if I run this, you can see that I can see the actual content of the log. In addition, the file name here is now highlighted in red because it contains an error message. Now I can also run my tests for multiple packages at a time, for example, in order to test dependencies. And in order to do that, I again type loot ut, but this time I use the -a flag and I run it for application 0. And application 0 is just a name choice that I took for this little tutorial here. You would of course call it whatever you want. As you can see, the test has been executed again, but if I now copy the test ID and run loot logs with -i, you can see that there is multiple logs that has been retrieved. There's this log here for this package that you see here on this side, and there's the second log for LOGUNITTEST itself. And the reason for that is if I go into the folder structure where the test logs have been created, you can see that there's two folders here. One is for the standalone packages and one is for these application 0. And if I go into application 0, you can see that there is these two packages, and there's a tox.ini file that also contains, in this LOGUNITTEST tag here, contains a package list with these two packages that have been flagged in here. So it will always test all the packages that belong to the entire application. And in this way, you can actually test dependencies without physically typing them out or, creating any other mechanism to test these packages in conjunction. As you can already see, there can be quite a lot of packages in here, and that makes it a little bit difficult to see if you have errors or something you need to worry about. And one way to easier identify any upcoming issues is using the verbosity flag. For example, if I say loot logs with that test ID again, and now I say minus verbosity minus v, and I use 2, then you can see that the one that contains an error here is actually highlighted in red. So this makes it a bit easier to identify any logs that contain potential issues. Now what I can also do is I can increase the verbosity even more. And if, for example, if I increase the verbosity to 3, I can actually see the content of these logs. For example, if I'm interested in what this error is, I just increase the verbosity to 3, and then I can see what caused the error. Now finally, I can run a test tox style. And in order to do that, I can just type loot tox. And if I run this, then you see that there is a test running, but that one is a little longer than what we have seen before. What LOGUNITTEST will do now is it will install multiple environments according to what I've specified in my tox.ini file and execute all the tests for all these environments. And again, in order to look at the results, I can type loot logs, and I can use the -i flag, copy the produced test ID, and press enter. And as you can see now, there have been multiple logs that have been produced, one for Python 3.10, one for Python 3.11, and it tried to produce an environment for 3.12, but that obviously failed. And if I have a look at this now by using the verbosity flag -v, and I want to look at the logs itself, then I can actually see what happened. So in this case, there's a module that wasn't found, and that's due to a faulty installation. And the problem that I have right now is that Python 3.12 doesn't properly install in pipenv. Now, as of now, LOGUNITTEST is available in alpha only, so it's not available on PyPI yet, but you can download it or clone it from GitHub by using the URL that you see here. And once you've downloaded or cloned it, you can just install it using pipenv. And the easiest way to do that is to alter your pip file. As you can see here in packages, I have entered this entry, LOGUNITTEST, and make sure the path is the path to your package. And then you can just run pipenv install, and it will install LOGUNITTEST with it. Now, as you hopefully see now, LOGUNITTEST can facilitate your development life significantly. Of course, it's not a fully functional tool yet because it's still in alpha, but that leaves room for you to participate and to contribute. So if you feel like you want to contribute, just let me know. Otherwise, I encourage you to install and to try it. And with that said, have a pleasant day.